Hey everybody, welcome to the very first episode on my channel of, what are we calling this? Cinema Club Fireside Chat. This is going to be something that, well, let me first start this video by saying that a few days ago, good friend Jeff Messerman and I were talking, and he had this idea to where we kind of like motivate each other to do videos, and I was like, that's awesome. And so he had this idea. Basically, we just have a conversation in video form that we include you guys in if you're interested. And basically, he makes a video, which he's already made his first video. So his video is going to be in the description of this. So if you want, you can actually watch his first, then watch mine. And basically, it's just going to be, he shows off some recent things that he's purchased and talks about them, and then whatever we feel like talking about, that's what we're going to be doing. And I'll be making videos responding to him and keeping the conversation going. And we're going to try to shoot for maybe like once a week to have these videos come out. And we're just going to see how long we do this. It's just kind of like a fun, easy thing to do. No crazy editing, just old school Ryan and Jeff YouTube videos, just chatting. We don't really need all the high production value because you guys come to listen to us talk. So be sure to check out Jeff's channel and also to sub him and keep up with his videos and mine, because they're going to be kind of going together in terms of responding to him. And we're just going to keep this going. We're not really worried about getting a ton of views or anything like that. It's just something that we like doing personally. Like me and him, we went through a period of time where we were sending each other videos back and forth, just conversation type things. And so, yeah, so I'm not going to show my things that I've received right now. I'm actually heading home from work. Today is Labor Day. And so wanted to get, while I'm driving, prop the phone up and just kind of chat with you guys a little bit. So in Jeff's video, he talks about a bunch of movies that he, has been watching and been into lately. And he was talking about how HBO Max is like his streaming, vehicle of choice. And I have all these streaming services. I'm not proud of the amount of money that I spend on streaming services, but oh well, it's fun, and I don't buy as much right now. My physical media collection is massive, and I buy sparingly at this moment. I'm going through that season where I'm not just buying stuff to buy stuff. So to open up my part of the video, I'm just going to respond to kind of what he was talking about with HBO Max. So HBO Max, I've fallen in love with over the last few weeks because of their huge TCM hub and then their DC hub. I've been able to watch, I'm really big into, I'm a big DC guy. I haven't seen the Snyder Cut yet for Justice League. I love, Batman and stuff, but I kind of got burned out with live action superhero stuff a few years back. So I'm not really, I have not seen any of the Avengers movies after Age of Ultron. I'm very out of the loop when it comes to Marvel. And DC, I've seen everything but the latest Wonder Woman movie and Zack Snyder's Justice League. Want to see them, but like I said, I was burnt out. But I've never been burnt out with any of the animated stuff. So I started using HBO Max to binge watch some Batman the Animated Series, and also see some things that I have not seen before that are a part of the Warner Animation, DC Animated Universe type stuff. So that's what I've been using it for, but mainly the TCM hub. So I'll go in there on my YouTube TV. I have most of my DVR is filled with movies to watch. I think it's 300 movies now, and I keep knocking a little bit off. And then I'll hop over to the HBO Max TCM portion, and there's a crap ton of Criterions and stuff on there. Criterion released films and everything like that. so I'll stay on that. But one thing I wanted to mention, like I said, I've watched a bunch of stuff, but these videos are going to be kind of like picking and choosing what we're talking about. And Jeff, this is a movie I don't know if you've seen, but it's called Salesman. It is on the Criterion Collection. It is on the TCM hub, and it is basically a documentary. I think it came out in the early 60s, late 60s, and it is basically these documentary filmmakers that follow a small group and focusing on one guy. It's these Bible salesmen, and it really shows the gritty and hard on your luck salesman of the day, like back in those days of having a suitcase, going from hotel to hotel, and being away from your family just to make the money, the little sales pitches, and they're selling those gold-bound Bibles that everybody's family had back in the day. But you're following these salesmen, and they are just having a rough time. Then they're from New England, and the snow, being out in the snow, being out in harsh weather, not selling anything, stressed, and then you follow them down to a sales trip down to I forgot what city in Florida it is, but it's like a little community between Miami and Fort Lauderdale. And what makes the movie so fascinating is like you literally feel for these sales guys. Especially there's this one who you could tell back in his day, in the heyday of salesmen, he was probably like making a crap ton of money, and now he's older, he's not as young, he can't quite hit the get the numbers in, and it is fascinating. It is sad. I mean, nobody dies, but it's sad because you're seeing the stresses of this kind of life, and it is so fascinating. And it was one of those blind watches. I knew it was on Criterion Collection, but I didn't think about it until, like, I knew it was on Criterion Collection when they announced it a few years back, and then I forgot about it. I didn't know the premise. I just saw the cover and it just said Salesman. And so then I was flipping through HBO Max, and this came on, like it showed up, and I saw the premise, and I was like, oh my gosh, that is me. I need to watch that. And I loved it. And so I love HBO Max for that. I was able to go down my list and add a bunch of stuff. I'm currently I have a few shows that I like to binge watch on there. Well, some of the shows that I binge watch in the past, like one that I'm going through again, me and my wife both, is the USA series The Closer with Kira Sedgwick. Love that show. Never did see Major Crimes though, but I love that show, so that's in my HBO Max. But yeah, so that's kind of like my HBO Max portion, and I wanted to film that. And then when we come back, I will film me talking about some recent things that I've gotten and some things that I've watched. So I will see you in a second. All right, so what I have gotten over the last month or so, and some of this stuff is stuff that I've had in my collection that I just haven't watched, or I waited around watching for a while. One thing, Jeff, I want to bring up your first pickup. I still have the original Midnight Movies MGM DVD of it. But yeah, I agree with you on this film. Had so much promise, and it didn't quite get the landing. I might actually watch this again pretty soon. It might even be today. Who knows? We'll see. But yeah, I wanted to... Intriguing. Eerie. So yeah. So this is kind of a mixture. I'm going to go quick with some of these. So budget-wise, I'm trying to get my hands on a lot of horror films that I just haven't seen yet. And so I'll eventually get the special editions of them eventually. And that's if I care enough about them to do that. So some of these are DVDs. Let's just start with this one. I've never seen any of these movies. When I bought this, the third film in this pack was supposed to be the third film, but it's actually the remake. So Amityville Horror. I have never seen any of these movies, and so I look forward to checking them out. And I really know nothing about them, which is weird because I love horror movies, but there's still some that I just never saw. These are some of them. Speaking of what you were talking about, I got it over there, but Psycho 2, I love Psycho 2. I think it's a great sequel. I think it's a very creative sequel. I like Psycho 3 just as a continuation, and I really like Psycho 4 because it's kind of like the backstory. Norman Bates calls into a radio station to talk about that past, and so it's flashback. Henry Thomas from E.T. is young Norman Bates in that film. Made for TV, I'm pretty sure. So yeah. I grew up with these, and I have the first one, and I eventually get all of them, but I was just trying to get the next two because as the original trilogy is what I grew up with. Child's Play 2 and 3. I know 3 gets a lot of hate, but that was actually my favorite when I was growing up. That's the one that I watched the most. It was always like on USA Network. So yeah, I'm glad to full compressed both films on one DVD. Oh man, you love to see it in all of its compressed glory. Next, oh gosh, I got stuff all over the place. Okay, I'll go with this one. So I've been on a huge Friday the 13th kick again over the last couple months. Just wanted to dive into everything Friday the 13th. So I finally bought Crystal Lake Memories. And so I finished this over like 4 days after work. Every day I would watch a couple hours of it. Basically, if you guys don't know, this is a documentary that goes in depth on every film in the entire Friday the 13th series. And it is 400 minutes long. So it's pretty long. And of course, like the first 4 movies gets like an hour each movie going behind the scenes and stuff. And even though it was that long, this whole documentary was that long, I would have been happy if it was 14 hours, 15 hours. It's never enough Friday the 13th for me in terms of behind the scenes stuff. So, in fact, when Jason X first came out, the movie was okay. It was fun. I still like it for what it is today. But the DVD, when it came out, had a documentary on it, like a little featurette about the history of Jason Voorhees. And I used to watch that more than I watched Jason X. So it was worth the purchase for that alone. So, yeah, Crystal Lake Memories. I'll show this one because I haven't seen it yet. May watch it today, who knows. Had to get this. Everybody's raving about these Vestron video titles, and especially since they're so reasonable in terms of price. Shivers, David Cronenberg. This is one of the David Cronenberg films I have not seen. I've seen most of his other stuff. I like a lot of his other stuff. I love some of his other stuff. Really interested to see how this is. So I'm looking forward to checking this out eventually. I just read, a luxury apartment complex outside Montreal. The residents are infiltrated by parasites and transformed into violent, sex-crazed maniacs. Come on. I'll wait for that one. And next up, I got this a few weeks ago. I read the book last year, and it is one of my favorite books I've ever read. I love it so much, and so I didn't end up watching this when I was a kid. Weirdly, because I watched so many of these movies when I was a kid. Salem's Lot. So I just saw this a few weeks ago, and I think that it's good for an adaptation of the book. The book is way better. They do some different things in here. They put a bunch of characters together, but I thought it was, person I know said, not one person, a few people, I even looked on Letterboxd on some of the reviews, people said it was so slow starting out. And I'm like, man, the slow parts at the beginning were like my favorite parts of the book. Like I loved every single page of the book. And I really liked this movie a lot. Toby Hooper, outdid himself again. But here's the thing, we're talking about Toby Hooper. Of course he's going to do that. So yeah, I really, 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 really loved Salem's Lot. and I look forward to seeing this. I've been told to avoid Salem's Lot, or Return to Salem's Lot, and I do know it's because it has nothing to do with the book, nothing to do with the world that this movie is about. I think maybe they go to the same town. I don't know. I'll eventually see it maybe one day, but I liked this a lot for what it was, and especially since it's like such an amazing novel. Looking forward to reading the novel again too. That may be like an every other Halloween type thing. And if you guys know of any other books that are like Salem's Lot related, in terms, not related, but I really want to get more into like good horror novels, vampire ones, to be exact, in terms of what my interest is right now with novels. If you guys know of any other vampire type books, let me know. Let me know down in the comments. I would love to know, because I read a lot just as much as I watch movies, and so I just started reading Dune for the first time, and it is definitely a massive undertaking. I don't know if my brain is 100% with it yet, but we'll see. Okay, next up, let's talk about another thing I picked up recently for very cheap, and it was Phantasm, the original. And this is the remastered version that J.J. Abrams and Bad Robot meticulously restored. I had never seen this movie. I think I tried to watch it when I was a kid one time, and the VHS got eaten up in the VCR. So I was furious, and I just never got around to seeing it. And so now I saw it, and I really liked it. It wasn't as like, like there's a lot of people online that'll, like on Facebook and stuff, that it's like, what's one movie? A lot of people that are older than me, but they're like, what's one movie that you saw growing up that gave you nightmares? And there's a lot of people that say Phantasm because of the lead character, this guy right here. And I can see that, but it wasn't as like disturbingly crazy as it was. I don't know. It was kind of like a mixture of like a Stand By Me-ish slash what am I trying to say? I don't know. Twilight Zone type thing. And I could see how maybe Stranger Things is a little bit inspired by this film too, even though it's inspired by a lot of the things that came out in the 70s and 80s. But I really liked this. The acting left a lot to be desired, but I think it was the charm of the movie. There were some parts that I really laughed so loud, and it was mainly because of line delivery. If you guys have seen this movie, you know one of the parts I'm going to mention, and that is the part where the kid is under the car and he sees a foot, and he takes the hammer and slams the foot, and it's actually his older brother. Is it an older brother? I have only seen this once. It's either his older brother's best friend, or because I'm pretty sure his older brother died. Anyways, and he goes like that, and the guy goes, "Ah, my foot!" But like the way he delivers the line, it is so hilarious. And the score was awesome. I love those good old synth scores, and it was just a fun movie. I really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to watching this again. Yeah. Definitely looking forward to that. Next up is something that has gotten a lot of my interest lately. So, speaking of HBO Max, like earlier, I've been wanting to get into more Hammer films, like a lot of Hammer films. And so I'm starting out with Frankenstein and Dracula. So I watched Curse of Frankenstein with Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing. Loved it. Then I watched Horror of Dracula, and I loved that one even more. In fact, to the point where like I have HBO Max on my phone, and like if I'm taking a nap or I'm falling, I'll just like put it on. It's so comforting to me, and like it gives me that feeling of nostalgia. Like I swear maybe I saw it before, but it's such a comfort movie to me now, and I've watched it countless times, listened to it countless times, just having it on in my lunch break at work on my phone with my earbuds in. While I'm doing something else, and I just like it a lot. Now, I bought this set because I wanted to get a bunch of the Dracula Hammer films. I'm missing a couple in the Hammer series of Dracula, but I got this 4-pack that includes Horror of Dracula. So it has Horror Dracula, Dracula Has Risen from the Grave, Taste the Blood of Dracula, Dracula AD 1972. So I'm missing Brides of Dracula and Dracula Prince of Darkness, and then one later, The Scars of Dracula, I think, and then I'll have all of them. So I got this so I could see these three. Obviously, this is on HBO Max and in way better quality on HBO Max. These are all available for through Scream Factory and Warner Archive. But like I said, trying to get a lot of them for budget and to fit into the budget to where I could go back and buy some of these if I love them. Because I don't care about having a movie on DVD if I like it and I just don't feel like upgrading. But one thing I did do, because I love it so much and I need it, I need every physical copy, I ended up buying the Warner Archive of Horror Dracula. So obviously this is way better quality. So yeah, hopefully I'll eventually get the other ones and I'll be able to add it to this and finish that, and then I'll be able to hop over to Frankenstein. But this Halloween, other than rewatching some of my normal movies that I watch on Halloween, like Halloween season, which I watch horror movies all year round, but the volume of the quantity of ones that I watch definitely grows. So yeah, I look forward to that. So that's it for all like the horror stuff, and yeah, these are pretty much, yeah, these are all horror movies. So that's it for all the horror movies. Go ahead and put this back over here. Next up, a few weeks ago, it was Abbot and Costello Day on TCM, and I like Abbot and Costello a lot. And I saw that my buddy here on YouTube, Cinema Sickness, at his online store had this best of Abbot and Costello, 8 movies, Volume 1. This is One Night in the Tropics, Buck Privates in the Navy, Hold That Ghost, Keep 'Em Flying, Ride 'Em Cowboy, Pardon My Sarong, and Whodunit. These are 8 films, and it's just in a multi-pack, and he had it for pretty cheap, so I was like, I'm going to pick that up and add it to the collection. I don't think I've seen any of I've seen One Night in the Tropics. I think that's all on here that I've seen, so I look forward to putting them in and checking them out. One thing I want to mention, since I brought that up, so like when I was going through the Abbott and Costello movies, I was rewatching a lot of the ones I've seen, and I love them all. Well, I like them all, some more than others. And I watched Abbott and Costello meet the Mummy, and I liked it. That was it. I liked it. Here's the thing. I like the Mummy, the original Universal horror, with Boris Karloff and stuff. I like it. I don't love it. I don't know what it is about it. I like this Abbott Costello version. I didn't love it. I thought it could have been a lot shorter. And then recently I watched the Hammer film version of the Mummy. And once again, I liked it, but I didn't love it, to where I was actually disappointed a little bit, because it's just, and I think maybe I'm just not a big fan of the Mummy. I like the Universal 99 Mummy film and some of those movies, but even then I'm not like crazy about them. So maybe the Mummy is just not a monster that I'm ever going to get into, because I prefer all the other ones. And I started thinking, is it because Dracula and all those other ones, they're like somewhat based on previous material, especially Dracula and Frankenstein. They're created in a novel form in the past, and so there was like a lot of lore and myth to go along with it. And because the Mummy, as far as I'm aware, wasn't like based on a novel, maybe that's why it doesn't interest me as much. Could that have something to do with it? I don't know. Okay, so Warner Archive's also been releasing these films on Blu-ray slowly but surely. I love this series, and I've picked up 4 of them so far, and this is the last of this is the 4th one, and there's probably going to be 2 more. Hopefully Warner Archive releases them. Me and my wife love watching these once a year, going through them now, talking about the Thin Man movies with William Powell and Myrna Loy. Love these films, and so the second that this 4th one came out, like I have one over there, and then the other ones are on the shelf. And then I pre-ordered this one and got it the day it was released at my house. Shadow of the Thin Man, which is the 4th Thin Man film. So there's Thin Man, After the Thin Man, Another Thin Man, Shadow of the Thin Man, and then there's The Thin Man Goes Home, and then Song of the Thin Man. I can't remember which one of those was next and last. I don't know. So yeah, I haven't even taken this out of the wrapper yet because we're not even onto this film yet, but I'm glad to have this because for a long time it was just on DVD in these multi-packs, and then the other ones were out of print, so they just did not look great, but I still love them. And yeah, so hopefully we'll get the other 2. Obviously, if they do 4, they're going to do the other 2, but I just want them in my collection so I can complete it. I got all the Thin Man movies on high def. Let's check that off the box. Last, but certainly not least, those of you who follow my channel know I'm a pretty big John Cassavetes fan, and I love his films. And this is one I just really wanted to get, and I blind bought it. Husbands on Criterion with Ben Gazzara, Peter Falk, and John Cassavetes. And I love every single one of them in their own, like on their own. I love Columbo. I'm constantly, I mean, if you look right there, I got my Columbo DVDs where that's like in a regular rotation in our house. Ben Gazzara is one of those actors that I just love everything he's in. And from, what was the other one? I got a film of him recently. Gosh, what is it called? Let me see what it is. And it is, darn, I don't know where it's at, but it's the one with him and Sammy Davis Jr. is in it. Oh, right here. Come on. Convicts 4, which has Sammy Davis Jr. in it, Vincent Price, Broderick Crawford, Rod Steiger. Prison film. I don't know. I just got up just to show this. I love this film through Warner Archive, Ben Gazzara. But yeah, like I've always been a fan of him, but mainly because of his performance in Bridget Regaman and The Spanish Prisoner. He's a lot older. But, you know, even movies like Anatomy of a Murder, my favorite John Cassavetes movie, which is Killing of a Chinese Bookie. That's one of my all-time favorite films. That's my favorite Cassavetes movie. With all that said, I'm really looking forward to checking this out. I started it like a month ago, and I was really not in a great like headspace because I had just gotten off of work and I was like in that nap phase where I was like getting ready to fall asleep, but I wasn't. And so I fell asleep like 10 minutes into this, but I know I'm going to like it. I'm into all that Cassavetes, low budget, improvised kind of thing that some people find boring, but yeah. I've gotten other stuff. It's all in the collection already, but this is stuff that's kind of getting my eye right now. So so one thing I definitely want to know, does anybody know of any other vampire books? I really want to read some more vampire books. And also Hammer films. I really want to get more into Hammer films. After I knock out the monsters, what are some other ones I should get into? What are some other B-movie horror films that I need to watch? I want some that are great. I want some that are pure schlock. I want some that are pure crap. I want recommendations of everything. Because I just love it all. So, let me see, what else? I wrote a little, I can't, if I remember, I'll talk about it next week. Anyways, guys, be sure you sub Jeff. I hope you enjoyed these videos. If you want to film your response to these kind of videos, do it. Join in on the club. There is no fire, but it is a fireside chat. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.